Hey, and welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Fantasy Football Podcast. My name's Huck Breeze, and I'm joined here today by Scott Sheddick. Scott, we're not doing so well, but how are you doing today specifically?
Life wise, doing great. Things are going awesome. Fantasy wise, I'm pissed the fuck off,
Yeah.
honestly. I am just everything that could possibly go wrong the last couple of weeks has gone wrong. I'm on a 4-game losing streak. Scored 190 plus twice and lost both of those games to teams that could barely crack 100 the next week. Um, got season-ending injuries for multiple starters on my team last couple of weeks. Every single one of my trades lately, it's just, oh, I was doing doing well. Oh, I'm on your team. Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking die now. So, just, I don't know. I just feel like the beginning of Major League or Angels in the outfield before the Angels get there. It's just everything I could that could go wrong has gone wrong lately. I'm hoping to turn that around, obviously, but yeah, not in a great spot. How are you doing?
Yeah, you started out 3-0. I started out 2-0. We were both 3-1 through four. Collectively, both of us in our last, 5 games, you are 1-4, and I am 2-3. Uh, Collectively, we're 3-7 here. It is not good for us right now. However, like you always say,
Still a lot of football left to play.
there's a lot of football left to play.
Not for
You
Cam
know,
Scadaba or Tucker Kraft, but for other people.
that is true. Not for
Yeah.
those two players, but for other people. There's a lot of football left to play. Listen, and we'll get this out of the way before our matchups. So specifically, what do you think is wrong with your team? Just injuries?
There's nothing wrong. I just caught people on bad weeks. I mean, Lamar Jackson was out for a few weeks. That definitely affected things. Then I got him back and just scored 195 points and played somebody that scored 205 points. I think I have a good team. I just need to stop having shit fucking luck, and I'll be fine. I had better running backs. Obviously, Cam Scatterable going back down and tight end going down, but you can still win without two stellar running backs or a stellar tight end. It's not the end of the world. Definitely helps to have them, but what are you going to do when people just go run out in the field and decide to crumble and die? Um, I like my team. I just need to stop getting punched in the nuts by fucking fantasy football gods.
Was there a discussion between you and Clay? I mean, was there some shit talking before and after the game?
There
Gloating?
wasn't really any. No, there wasn't really any shit talking. Really, not more than maybe you saw in the chat. We actually talked on the side about just I had my baby shower this past week in which you came to. I appreciate that. We talked about
Yeah.
that for a little bit. Just talked about life for a little bit, really. Um, yeah, no, nothing really like that because I don't know how confident he was feeling going in. Honestly, I felt like he was a little hesitant to be boastful going in. Obviously, he did win, but I don't. Neither one of us picked him last week, and I think if I would have asked him to double the bet before the week, he wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, everything's quite civil in those regards for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I lost to Cameron as well. Cameron had a great week, 40 points over projection.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, he, anytime you have a quarterback face Cincinnati or Dallas,
Yeah,
um, that's dangerous. I mean,
they're
if you were playing against a quarterback that's playing Cincinnati or Dallas, you may just have to chalk it up as an L. So yeah, it was a rough week for both of us, but we are moving on. Things have been, and the reason we're taking so long on this is things have been kind of quiet this week. I think it was kind of a weird week. All right, you had a lot of underdogs. All underdogs won last week.
yeah.
Speaking of, we had a streak come to an end. I know we've talked about this in the past, but the streak for wins to begin the season is 9. Uh, Camacho's streak to begin the season for wins this year was 8, and it stopped against the Maestro. So unfortunately, John Breeze can pop a bottle,
Well, I thought it
pop a
was
champagne bottle.
Gaspar had the record. Is it John Breeze?
Yeah, John Breeze had the record to start a year, which would be 9-0. I think he finished 13-1 and then lost the championship, or 12-1, lost the championship. But yeah, that is. But we still have another streak that is actually going, and that is the longest losing streak.
Ooh, not a record you want to own.
Not a record you want to own, but it's not the record to start a season. So the record to start a season is held by Michael.
Oh,
That's 10. And that is also the longest losing streak ever. I'll be honest. We've talked a lot of shit about Chase. We've said a lot of bad things about Chase's team, that it doesn't deserve to be where it's at. I mean, it's a great team, but did you think that this was a team that could be a team that we talk about for decades and decades, going forward? Or is this just a team that you kind of expected to fall short of any kind of record?
I mean, we don't talk about many teams for decades and decades. I'll say that, but I don't think it's that by any means. Just because it's, he played what one team's playing starting one quarterbacks for like 5 weeks in a row or something. So, and his team's gotten a lot better. But if you go back and look at his team in like week 2 or 3, it's just a bunch of garbage. It was so many bad players. He's had Jonathan Taylor. That's really about it. And A-Chain's been playing well too, but his wide receivers were all garbage. His quarterbacks were terrible. They just, were getting a lot of garbage time, and it can last for a little bit. But he knew as well as we did that he had to move on from them. Before that they lost their jobs essentially, and he did. He smartly did that. And now, if you go back and look at all those trades that he made with Neil and or with Elite Futility, it's like bordering on veto material basically. So it's. Yeah, I mean, he's done well for himself. I'll give him that.
1,711 points, second in the league, behind Cos having just a monster points here. But 1,410 points against is third least in the league. And, I can't really talk. I'm like 20 points behind, but and you're only 1 point behind me. But it's, one of those things where we are 5-4 fighting for our playoff lives, and he is in first place. So yeah, no, I didn't think that Chase's team. This is one of those teams. I always talk about Trevor's team from a few years ago, where it was like, okay, he had decent QB2s, 2 QB2s, and then the rest of the lineup was wide receiver 1s at 3 positions, running back 1s at 2 positions, and then one of the best top 5 tight ends. Like, that's a fantastic team. I don't think Chase's team is quite there, and we'll talk about that when we get to that matchup. Let's talk about the other end, like we're talking about Neil. Is this one of the worst teams you've ever seen?
It's pretty bad, and he just keeps making worse choices. I don't necessarily think it's the worst team I've ever seen. I think he's actually gotten a little bit better in the past couple of weeks, I feel like, with some of his moves. And honestly, he could possibly pull himself out of last place still, so like I could definitely see it. He's got some games coming up that I could see him winning, and I don't think it's the worst team I've ever seen.
I think that this is definitely, I mean, it's has the potential to set a record for losing streaks, and has potential to set a record for no Gridiron team has ever won just one game, right? It's at the least amount of wins has been 2. Michael, that year he lost 10, won his very last game of the season before it let out for the playoffs to not get that record. So 2 is the least. He obviously could tie that, but he's in danger. I know there's a lot of football left to play, 5 weeks. But if he can't win one of those games, then this team does not. think it reflects that at his current moment. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
really good team as far as the non-playoff teams go. So yeah, I think a lot of this, what Neil has, is due to luck. I think it's just an extremely unlucky year that he's had thus far. And yeah, 1,286 points is not good. I mean, you're up 500 points behind the first place person over a 9-week span. It's not great, but yeah, I don't think this year, comparatively to other years, is a year of extremes. I think there's. I mean, you look at third place to 12th place is now one game apart from each other.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And second and 13th aren't that far off either.
Correct. And so now so the reason we're talking about Neil and Chase right now, these are the polar opposites, but everybody else, we have no idea what can happen, right? Yeah. I mean, Chase has pretty much wrapped up his spot in the playoffs, and Neil is not going to make the playoffs, barring some absolute miracle for both of them. But the rest of everything, Clay in 12th place could end up being second place. So anyway, yeah, there's not really a lot of trades to go over. You traded a move for AJ Barner. There's been some maintenance stuff, transactional trades. I really honestly think that a lot of the teams last week are happy with their team, but lost. So everybody's sticking. The people who won are happy that they beat they came from behind or they were underdog and won. And the teams that won or the teams that lost are saying, hey, my team's not as bad as it looked last week. So I see there's a lot of people just sitting. However, about 2.5 weeks until trade deadline. And so if this week doesn't go your way, I expect next week to get pretty busy. As far as the trade deadline, did anything catch your the NFL trade deadline? Did anything catch your eye fantasy wise?
Rashid Shaheed to the Seahawks as a Sam Darnold owner. I think that gives them another good weapon to use. It pissed me off a little bit because I had literally just picked up Torrey Horton, and they're like, we need another wide receiver. Yeah. I'm like, God damn it. I was like, you literally just devalued the guy I just picked up that just scored 2 touchdowns for you. So it's like, it's not that he's bad. They're just like, you know what though? Let's replace him with Rashid Shaheed. So like, it's good for the quarterback, but it's also bad for it, like for the guy I just picked up. But overall, I think that will be good. I think it boosts Rashid Shaheed's value for sure because Shuck looked terrible, but it looks like they're going to stick with him just to keep tanking for a good draft pick next year. And Darnold didn't need much boosting, but it definitely helps.
Yeah. I mean, for a Darnold owner, you got to love that. I mean, again, he didn't need much boosting. There's not much better he can get, but yeah.
I mean, he could. I don't know. It'd be nice.
Right. I thought that the Jacoby Myers trade opened up maybe a few spots. I mean, we're talking super deep, but Jack Betch for the Raiders. Listen, this was a second-round pick, and he really hasn't had much work this year. But if you're not playing him at this point, they signed Tyler Lockett last week. If you're not playing him at this point, I don't understand why you picked him. Because obviously he needs to get in there. So I mean, that's somebody to maybe to look at. I thought I was doing a big brain move picking up Isaiah Davis for the Jets. That Breece Hall would get traded, and he did not.
No. Okay. I was wondering about that pickup. That makes more sense now.
Well, I mean, if you look at Isaiah Davis, you love a running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield and rip off big plays. And even with Breece Hall in there, he's getting 2, 4, 5 targets at a time, right? He's playing passing downs, he's playing whole drives, and he's, not terrible on the ground. So if you look at their schedule, it's pretty favorable. So I really liked Isaiah Davis but Brees Hall's not going anywhere. But all right. So do you have any free agents before we get into these matchups that you want to talk about?
I guess
Give me
I've
an
got
offensive, defensive guy.
yeah, I could give him a couple guys. Offensively, I like Muth. I like Patrick Myermuth. I think he's getting back, really getting into the offense now. He's got 2 out of 3 weeks with touchdowns, 3 total. I think he's going to continue being a good asset for them. We're running big sets for the Steelers, so I think he's got the best hands because they're using Washington a lot and Jonnu Smith, but Freiermuth is the best hands in the red zone. For defense, I kind of like Zach Allen. He's been coming on lately. He's very consistent. 7, 7, 11 and a half. He's got a 5 in there too, but still better than most defensive linemen people are starting. And I think Bonito is getting a lot more attention now, which is allowing Zach to work on some one-on-ones and should be pretty good going forward.
Yeah, I really, Bonito's not really done shit.
Because that's what happens in defense. It's the guys that get sacked. They're sack dependent. And yeah, they start. Now it's the whole game plan is stop that one guy.
That one guy and everybody else. I mean, it was super frustrating watching Houston play Denver last week as somebody with 3 Denver defensive players and watching everybody else get plays.
It's the whole reason that Camacho traded Micah Parsons for Rashawn Gary, because Rashawn Gary is playing better than Micah Parsons because all the attention goes to Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
So I mean, when I saw it, I was like, this is actually a much better trade for Camacho than people think. But
yeah, I'll give a tight end on top of the Raiders wide receiver Juwan Johnson. It was said in chat that Juwan Johnson played with Tyler Shuck at Oregon. They have a history together. Juwan Johnson has 10, 7, 10 over his last 3 weeks, and he's fully healthy. He's going to be a target hog now that Shaheed's out. I think if you need a tight end, this guy he's a tight end 1. He deserves to be started somewhere in our league. Better than other tight ends probably out there. So yeah, I like Juwan Johnson. And on defense, Logan Wilson's not owned. Okay, so the Cowboys went and made a bunch of weird fucking moves for the Cowboys.
Because they think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, so being 3-5. Like, you're 3-5 and you go and like trade for your defense now. Like, it's. I think that is an admittance by Jerry Jones to say, "Hey, I made a fucking mistake with Micah Parsons, and the fans know it, and the media knows it, and everybody knows it.
Hey, just now let me go like an idiot."
Right now, let me go out and see if I can get some of these guys with some of our draft picks. And Logan Wilson, I don't understand why this happened. So Logan Wilson was benched by you think the Dallas defense is bad. The Bengals defense is worse.
They went and got a Bengals defender that was benched.
The middle linebacker
of the worst defense.
And the problem with Logan Wilson was that he was awful in coverage. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think Logan Wilson probably needs to be owned. They're not going to trade for him and let him play as long as he's healthy. I know he was having some issues. He was out last week with a calf injury, but I think that I don't know what it's going to look like because now they got like a million different linebackers. They might play like this 3-4 with Quentin Williams, but change up their whole perspective.
So does Overshown's value go down then with Logan Wilson showing up?
Well, he was never going to play middle, but he was never going to play middle. So you got Overshown, you've got
sometimes they bump other people out and stuff like that,
Right. So. Shamar James is playing right now. There's been some people saying that Shamar James is good. You've got Kenneth Murray. Like, is he just going to get benched? I don't know, but I think that it'd be weird. I think Logan Wilson should be picked up as like somebody who was in the linebacker 1 ranks 2 years ago, now being traded for and being on the Cowboys' terrible defense. Like maybe there's a chance he comes out and gets you double digits every game just by volume. I don't know. That's somebody I got on my watch list for sure. All right, recap of last week. I think we both went 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
That means I'm still 1 behind.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to catch you. You're going. I'm going first this week.
Okay.
In all these matchups. So I guess we'll start with Fupa Slayer against Unicycle Polar Bears. This is a battle of a couple teams with a lot of different championships here.
Mm-hmm. Is this matchup of the week?
This is not my matchup. Is matchup of the week.
Oh, you picked
It's
yourself,
weird.
did you?
The
When
algorithm just.
I look at it, sometimes it says matchup of the week, sometimes it doesn't. Like when I look at it on my desktop, it never says it. But when I look at it in my app, sometimes it says it, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, desktop. Yeah, desktop won't have that
Stupid.
at all. Yeah.
Desktop should always have more information. But I'll let you go.
Well, so one of the things that I've taken from this season is that when you have somebody and you're waiting for news, right? You have a contingency, right? Let's just put Marcus Mariota as that example, and they say, "All right, Jaden Daniels going to start now." Your first instance is be like, Marcus Mariota is now useless to me. I need to drop him, right? A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this guy's not starting anymore. He's worthless. I'm going to drop him. John has not done that. And it has kind of taught me I want to drop Isaiah Davis. I mean, I don't have a lot of moves to use, so there's no real reason. But I want to drop Isaiah Davis. He's kind of useless to me now. Maybe I need another running back. But it's like, what if something happens to Breece Hall? What if Breece Hall is so upset he doesn't want to play? Like all these things going through my mind where in the past I would have just dropped Isaiah Davis. Marcus Mariota has been kept on John's team for weeks. And suddenly
he's the backup to RG3 basically.
Yeah.
So I get it. I completely get it.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was kind of a waste of space, useless quarterback. And then now he's looking like, honestly, with the way Dak's playing, this could be his QB1. Like Mariota going forward.
It won't be his QB1.
He's got Trevor Lawrence and Dak.
Dak had a bad game. He had a bad game.
Okay, he has 17 the last few weeks. I know he's played some tough.
Yeah, he played some tough defenses, and he'll come back. He's got a bye. He's got Vegas, Philly, Kansas City, Minnesota. Come on, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll bounce back.
I mean, you're probably right, but I'm just saying Mariota's a pretty valuable piece.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm sure you thought the same thing watching that game against Seattle. They're down 35 points. He's rushing and not sliding, not going out of bounds, trying to run over linebackers. It was a matter of time. It was just a matter of time.
Disgusting. It was disgusting play.
He's like 6'4", 130 pounds. Like, what the hell does he think he's doing? Look in the mirror, man. So. Right. Yeah, no, that was. I mean, but the thing is he was making those bad decisions, but the coaches were also letting him make those bad decisions, and they were calling quarterback runs. When Mariota was in there against Kansas City the other week, they called a bunch of quarterback runs. And wait, you trying to go down to your third string quarterback? Like it just a lot of the decisions there are make you scratch your head at the very least.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That was a boner by the Washington coaching staff, and that probably shouldn't have happened. Looking at John's wide receiver core, here's a pet peeve I have. Sorry to get off track here. John keeps saying, I want to upgrade my wide receivers. Get at me. I think this is one of my pet peeves for fantasy football overall. When you go into a group chat saying, here's what I have to offer, people come to me. That's not how this really works. I don't think it should be how it works. You should really honestly be searching, how can I upgrade my wide receivers and do the legwork? You're asking other people to do legwork for you. Maybe this is why you're not having any trades or any luck with trading. I don't know. But I don't think his wide receiver group is necessarily awful. I mean, he's got Keenan Allen, Romeo Doubs. It's not great, but Debo's going to get a ton of work with Mariota going forward. So I don't really mind that as a piece on offense. Jahmyr Gibbs, Judkins. Who's playing for the Jets on defense? Name a Jets defender.
McDonald.
Will McDonald, Jamie Sherwood.
There we go.
Will McDonald. Yeah,
Jamie Sherwood. Tough. That was tough.
It is tough, right? But the Jets are going to get run over. They're just going to get run over. They're going to get passed on. It's going to be disgusting going forward. So Keyshawn Judkins against the Jets is going to be a good matchup. You like Sam Laporta going up against Washington, top 10 against that position. And his defense is not bad. I love Quentin Lake. Like I just mentioned, Jamie Sherwood. Um, I think John has a pretty good lineup. Going over to Cameron's like Caleb Williams against anybody right now, you don't really want to face Caleb Williams. I know he had forced 12 against teams that were pretty decent or decently bad against the pass, and then suddenly plays Cincinnati and throws down 44 on me. Like any week, Caleb Williams could throw down 50, and you don't want to be facing him after he threw down 44. Michael Penix against Indianapolis with Sauce Gardner going there and probably going to play this week. It's not really a matchup, especially overseas, that you want to have. Alec Pierce, not something to be like. I'm not really afraid of this team. I know they just put up 190 and beat me, but Caleb Williams had so much. But yeah, I mean, I should have lost by much more if it wasn't for Geno and Bowers. Caleb Williams just crushed. He absolutely murdered. If you almost put up 50, like it's really hard for me to do anything else. And so this team still does not spark fear in me. Looking at Michael Penix to Kyle Pitts, like Amon-Ra St. Brown's obviously a fear. Kyron Williams, I know he put up 17 last week. Like team's okay, but I don't think that this team is really that scary. On defense, Landman, Roseboom, Henley, guys that you don't normally think of putting up double digits. They did last week. I think they might do it going forward. This is a closer matchup than we think, but I'm going to take John in this instance. I really think this hinges on his running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs against Washington and Kenshawn Judkins running wild against the Jets. What do you got?
I think it's a coin flip. It comes down to some big matchups. Trevor Lawrence at Houston and Marcus Mariota versus Detroit, I don't think are good matchups for Fupa Slayer there. Unicycle Polar Bears versus Williams versus the Giants, and Michael Penix at Indianapolis, across the pond there in Europe. But I think Unicycle Polar Bears will edge that out a little bit. Caleb Williams did put up 40 plus last week, but he's not very consistent. I don't expect him to do that very often. Fupa Slayer's wide receivers better show up because Romeo Doubs, it's just Green Bay wide receivers in general are hard to depend on. But now that Tucker Kraft is out for the season, they're going to have to be dependable. I agree with Deebo Samuel getting more action and Marcus Mariota in there, and Keenan Allen versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh always has trouble with big wide receivers like him, so I could see him getting a couple touchdowns. Unicycle Polar Bears has Alec Pierce versus Atlanta and Amon-Ra St. Brown at Washington, Devontae Smith at Green Bay. Atlanta and Green Bay are not good matchups for wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown could have a field day, but he'd have to make up a lot of ground. And then I agree. Jahmyr Gibbs at Washington, Quinshon Judkins at the Jets is really where Fupa Slayer is probably going to run away with this. Kyron Williams at San Francisco is a really bad matchup. Kenneth Walker III, more like Kenneth Walker the Who. The guy never gets the ball. Who cares about him? I just, while Unicycle Polar Bears could win this game, like I said, he has a chance. Caleb Williams has a huge game, and Amon-Ra St. Brown has a huge game. I kind of expect Fupa Slayer's overall team to probably, and led by his running backs, to take this home.
All right. Okay. Let's move on to Eternal Touchdown versus Maestro. Eternal Touchdown's in trouble. I mean, that's plain and simple. He's in trouble.
He's basically the what's it called? The Marvel meme of, did you win? What did it cost you?
I thought that exact same thing. I know that sounds stupid, but it's just like it's like, yeah, you got the win, but what exactly did it cost you? That must have been quite the bittersweet celebration for him last week. But I think that, losing Jaden Daniels, losing Kyler Murray in 1 week, when you're in a position to like, hey, I've won a few games, now I'm back in the match. Like, where do you go from here? What if his team isn't good enough to say, like, that you can. I don't think his team is good enough to, like, trade for a bad quarterback and be able to continue forward and make it in the playoffs. Like, I don't know what he does. It's got to be Lad McConkey, Bucky Irving. But Bucky's not even practicing this week, so it makes it so it's like what are you going to defense?
Yeah, and the thing is like, so what really concerned me with Kyler Murray was they just kept saying foot injury, and I'm like, what do you mean just foot? What's wrong with his foot? Tell me.
Exactly.
Like,
Like Liz
and like,
Frank, they said kind of like Liz Frank.
yeah, but they didn't even say that for weeks. For a while, they were just saying foot.
Right.
And the more vague they are about an injury, the more you should be concerned.
Yeah, because that means they're
So
concerned too.
yeah, and they don't want to tell you the whole truth.
Right.
So they're kind of doing that with Bucky Irving too. I feel like a little
Yeah.
bit. There's like foot, shoulder, and it's like what exactly though? So yeah, it's not good. Good foreshadowing for sure.
Not good at all. Yeah, I don't know what he does from here. I really don't. And to be honest, Michael's coming off a time where he just took down a giant in Chase. Good matchups against Washington. I know Jared Goff outdoors is not the most attractive thing, but he's facing Washington. Matthew Stafford, he's got pretty much a full team. I mean, he's missing Javonte Williams, but lately Javonte Williams hasn't been early season Javonte Williams. So I don't see a path. Like Clay would have to manufacture a win the way he manufactured a win last week against you, but with much, much less.
So like a
So
voodoo doll of my team stabbing it and ripping the head off like
I don't
that.
know. He said straight up, like, I built my team to destroy Sheddick. Like, he got it done.
If I didn't trade him Jackson Dart, he wouldn't have had shit. I would have won the game.
Yeah.
And because
I
now I traded him Jackson Dart for Cam Scatabo, so it was basically for nothing. So if I wouldn't have done that trade, he'd be 2-7 right now.
right.
So he
I
didn't build shit.
yeah, I don't really know 100% how this team moves forward. But I don't think I can pick. I mean, I want to do an in-depth breakdown, but before Clay does anything, I don't know how you could possibly think that Clay's even going to compete this week. What do you think?
You remember playing Call of Duty Zombies, and you'd make a crawler, where he has no legs and he's just like crawling around with his top torso. That's
Yeah.
basically his team now. You've got to really not be paying attention for him to beat you. You got to really either be on Bimageddon, which we're pretty much past, or just have as many injuries as him, or maybe be elite futility. But that I feel like that's the only way he's going to win if somebody is AFK or something, away from the keyboard and not paying attention, basically. So, I mean, he's got Jackson Dart at Chicago, which is fine, but Maestro, between Goff and Stafford alone, they're going to triple his points. Ladd McConkey, DJ Moore, and Darius Slayton is not great. Ladd McConkey could do well. He's really good at catching the ball and laying down immediately so nobody touches him. Real tough guy there. And then Maestro's got Justin Jefferson, Josh Downs, and Quentin Johnson, who all will score multiple touchdowns. Probably triple their touchdown output on the other side there. And then Bam Knight and Bucky Irving. He's probably gonna have to end up benching Bucky Irving, and Bam Knight is not great. Really not a run first offense there in Arizona versus RJ Harvey and Rashad White. Maestro might put up over 200 again, and total touchdown might have an issue breaking 100. So, yeah, it's gonna be a long week.
Yeah, I think we're both going to go on Maestro there. Next matchup, Elite Futility against Last Man Standing. This is actually close. Josh Allen against Miami could be bad weather. A lot in this game. Jalen Waddle, Shakir. He's. I think that's kind of and Aaron Rodgers against the Chargers. Not a great matchup. I know his team is probably more talented overall. Rhonda Gadsden against Pittsburgh in that game doesn't look so bad, and Derrick Henry against Minnesota. On the other side, J.J. McCarthy against Baltimore. Baltimore's continued to give up some points through the air. Got that stack and jack with Jordan Addison. He's got actually the tripod because now Jordan Mason he's got in that spot. So everybody going against Baltimore at home. Tyler Warren is a decent spot going overseas. remember, Neil's probably going to replace a kicker at some point. We'll see when that happens. I'm taking Neil. I know I've taken Neil multiple times. He's lost every single time. I'm taking elite
I was hoping
utility.
you'd take Neil. This is where I'm going to win. You just keep taking Neil every week. You know, I love the confidence you have in him. You probably have more confidence in his team than he does. That's fantastic. I love to hear it. This is all good things. You know, I don't see it happening, Neil. I just don't. I'm sorry. JJ McCarthy versus Baltimore. I know their defense has been bad earlier in the year, but it seems like they've kind of fixed some things. But Kyle Hamilton in the box, and I know they're not going to want to let JJ McCarthy's little baby face beat them. Brock Purdy versus the Rams, whether it's Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, neither one of them are very mobile. The offensive line doesn't look very good, and the Rams defensive line has been getting after people. So I don't think that's good. Josh Allen at Miami. If it rains, as long as they don't cancel the game, Miami has been like after the trade deadline when everybody on the team basically knows, hey, like we are basically done for the year. We're just not closing up shop because we sold season tickets. I think he's going to have a field day because he doesn't need to throw it. If it's raining, then he'll just run it himself. That's fine. And they've been doing tush pushes at the goal line. Rodgers, yeah, that's not a great matchup at the Chargers. Steelers never play well traveling to the West Coast. The Chargers defense is very good, but I don't think he's going to need to do that much. He's going to need to stay positive, which he's done all year. Wide receiver wise, Jordan Addison, Wandale Robinson, Rome Odunze, who might not even play, does absolutely nothing for me. Jalen Waddle, Khalil Shakir, and Garrett Wilson, I know isn't exactly, blowing the sky up either, but the Stack and Jack and Josh Allen has been pretty good this year. Jalen Waddle's been better than expected with Tyreek Hill out, and Garrett Wilson, if he plays, great. I think they're still kind of forcing the ball, and they don't want to have one of the worst records in the league. So I still see last man standing edging that out. Breece Hall and Jordan Mason for elite futility. I would not be doubling up on the Minnesota offense. This is part of why I got rid of Aaron Jones, just trying to watch that Minnesota offense, which usually is pretty good, coached by Kevin O'Connell, has been pretty terrible this year, mainly because of the offensive line. And Breece Hall, yes, he's good, but against Cleveland's defense, not going to be very good for him in fantasy wise. Whereas last man standing has Jalen Warren and Derrick Henry and going at it. I expect both of them to pick up a lot more points. Derrick Henry, the Baltimore offense, I expect to keep getting better week out of week. Tyler Warren is good. He didn't have a good week last week. I expect Atlanta to keep that going for him. Whereas Gadsden's been doing fantastic. I expect him to keep finding the end zone. I'm going to take last man standing, and not because elite futility's on an 8-game skid. I just think that he's going to win right this week. I mean, plus even if elite futility replaces his kicker, it's not going to score as many points as Cameron Dicker will. So I'm going to take last man standing on this one.
Okay. All right. Going to our next matchup here. We have Professor versus Benjamin Harrison. Max's team may be listen, I talk about this all the time. I talk about inflated projections. Max has decent projections, like Alvin Kamara, 12.78. Alvin Kamara the last 3 weeks, 5.2 last week. Like, sometimes these projections, I just don't know where they're coming from.
Some people don't. I feel like there's people that set them that just really like certain players. They're like, remember that one year in 2016 when he was awesome? And they're just like, yeah, he's still that guy. 17 points projected.
I feel like what happens is they're supposed to be this amount of points out of this position on this matchup. And they're not looking at the player themselves or what they've done in the past. Like, he's hobbled.
Well, like what he's doing right now. Like it is a what have you done for me lately league. And like I don't know. Yeah, the projections to me, you can't take them to heart for sure.
Right. Playing Davis Mills. Listen, I love Davis Mills, but it's not good. And I don't think he's going to get 17.39. I don't see like I thought about trading Nico Collins away just because Davis Mills, what if CJ Stroud doesn't come back? What if this is extended? Like, That's not good. Brian Thomas is hobbled right now. He didn't practice today. We don't know what's going to happen there. Max's defense is in and out. I know Max is kind of trading for his life, basically. He knows that if he falls one of these weeks and goes 3-7, the chance of him making the playoffs dip down to less than like 5%, right? He's facing a team that got super lucky with Jacoby Brissett. I mean, how lucky can you get? Him and Cause and John
Yeah,
just getting quarterbacks. He's just sitting on Jacoby Brissett, and then
free.
he's like, "Well, you're the starter, probably for the rest of the year. Go for it."
Yeah.
And he's played fantastic. He's played fantastic. He's passed his bye. He keeps Jacoby Brissett passes by, and he keeps. I guess that's good fantasy. It is. It's just good fantasy. So on the other side, Rashid Shaheed coming first game against Arizona, you're gonna see a touchdown. You see him hit him deep. Colson Loveland looked pretty good. He's probably a tight end one, probably end of tight end one ranks, but a tight end one for sure. Josh Jacobs as a hammer is always good. We haven't seen the Baker Mayfield we have in the past. Baker Mayfield's had a slow few weeks, not running as much, playing New England, who really is really good against the run. So Baker will probably be forced to pass at some point. I'm not big on Cod's defense, but they're getting it done week after week. Obviously, 200-point weeks. I think 4 out of the last 6 weeks. It's fantastic. It's just amazing the amount of points he's putting up this season. I'm going to take Cause, and I don't particularly think it's going to be close. This is probably going to be a blowout. Like reading the projections, like Max is so overinflated. Chris Olave against Carolina, like 11.9. Come on. Yeah, I'm taking Cause.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough week, I think, for Benjamin Harrison. Tua versus Buffalo, I think, is going to have a long day, especially if it's raining. Davis Mills versus Jacksonville is very tough for him. I think he's going to have a tough day as well. Jacoby Brissett's been playing great. He is at Seattle, tough place to play, tough defense there. Baker Mayfield versus New England might not have a great day. Baker Mayfield's been he's lost his confidence in his eyes. I got to see how he plays this. They had their bye week last week. I got to see how he comes back from that. He could definitely come back, but he wasn't slinging it as much as he was at the first 5 weeks, past couple weeks. So I do expect Professor to still come out on top of there, not by much. But then Benjamin Harrison's wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, Chris Olave, and Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. is probably most talented one, but he also got the toughest matchup at Houston. Lave's got Carolina, which isn't great, and Diggs just isn't consistent very much this year versus Professors Devontae Adams, Rashid Shaheed, and Parker Washington, who all have been playing really well lately. I expect Devontae Adams to keep playing really well. He edges him there as well. Benjamin Harrison could win with Bijan Robinson, but I don't expect Alvin Kamara to back him up very much. So he'd have to win like really big, like a 40 burger. Whereas Professor's Josh Jacobs is one of the most consistent running backs in the entire league for the past couple of years and getting touchdowns. Rico Dowdle's been having crazy games and could easily have another one. It's just Benjamin Harrison's losing on every front here. Mark Andrews is not he's been okay past couple of weeks, I guess, but I don't expect it.
He got 2 touchdowns when he came back. I took the over on 3 receptions. He scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter and then didn't get a catch after the fucking game.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I don't expect it to be enough for Benjamin Harrison to win that game, especially because Colson Loveland will probably cover majority of what he puts up, if not score more. So yeah, Professor's winning on every important position battle right now.
Dang, I thought I had you on that one.
No, like I said, it's just the Tua and Davis Mills at the top, and then no real strong wide receivers to back it up from there. The only thing he's got is Bijan, really, and like Bijan would have to score like 100 points.
Yeah, I don't understand where he's going to go with that. Like, I don't understand
he'd have to try to get as much as he can for Bijan, basically.
I just don't understand the projections. Yeah,
a lot of his defense is pretty inflated too. Like Jesse Bates is projected 9 points, which he's only scored once this entire season. Yeah. I don't really 100% understand, but we're both taking Cause at a really big projection deficit there. So next matchup we have here on the docket, Breadbasket against Rumham. Rumham made like 10 trades last week, just swapping all over the place. This week,
stayed silent. And I think part of the reason he stayed silent is, I mean, you build last week for a week like this. Breadbasket's kind of getting hit by the injury bug. He also has Patrick Mahomes on bye, making this kind of a more clear cut situation. You know, he's starting Shadur Sanders, who may or may not be the Cleveland number 3. I've actually offered him deals for Shadur Sanders. He kind of came back with Marvin Mims for my quarterback instead. But I think at some point they probably take a look at Shadur Sanders. Not right now. Not really interested in buying him, but obviously that's a blank spot for him going into the week. Puka will probably play. Marvin Harrison will probably play. And Troy Franklin is a really sneaky play for Thursday night. I don't mind these receivers where they're at, but Dalton Schultz, who had limited practice today, Nick Chubb and Chuba Hubbard are garbage running backs. His defense is decent, not a bad defense, but not something that I would particularly say is like something to call home about. On the other side, Brad has Daniel Jones going overseas. We'll see if he can come back from that egg he laid against Pittsburgh last week. I mean, you must have been happy watching that.
Rumham.
Trevor. Why? Who did I say?
You said Brad.
Yes,
I was happy. It's shocked, but happy.
Shocked, yeah. Bryce Young to Ted McMillan. Listen, I thought Bryce Young would be in the high QB2 ranks coming in the year. Throughout 9 weeks, I'm ready to say that Bryce Young is not a good quarterback, and he should not be a starter in the NFL.
He's Kyler Murray, but not as fast. Basically.
I think he's Geno Smith, Spider-Man meme.
Maybe I could say, but he's shorter though. Geno Smith can see over his offensive line. Bryce Young can't.
I think the Panthers thought like a Russell Wilson, Drew Brees type quarterback that can run. It just doesn't work.
When he was first overall, I was so shocked. I was like,
yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Right. And I think the Texans wanted him, which is good. It's great that we didn't go that route.
He also doesn't play with any urgency. He gets the ball and he kind of stands around. He looks. Oh, I'm sacked. Right. And it's just like, dude, like this is like your 50th sack this season. You'd think you'd learn at some point, but he is going against New Orleans, who's been pretty susceptible to the pass. So I think maybe they have a good week. Juwan Jennings is one of those sneaky players that's like, what have you done? Why are you starting him? Comes out and has 4 catches and a touchdown last week, probably starting as a wide receiver too. Jameson Williams showed up. I knew Jameson Williams would show up at some point. He did last week. He's got a great schedule going forward. I like Jameson Williams this week against Washington. These running backs, Kamani Vidal was the talk of the town 2 weeks ago. Last week he comes out and puts 12 for 30 against Tennessee, and people are like, actually, it's not as good as I thought. But against Pittsburgh, I think it's a good matchup. Ashton Jeanty going into tomorrow. I love Ashton Jeanty going forward. I got fucked on that deal. Luke McCaffrey broke his collarbone immediately, and so that was a problem on my end, but a gift to him. I like Jeanty going forward, and I even like this matchup against Denver. I know they've been pretty solid against the run, but yeah. Dalton Kincaid, 6 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown last week, going against Miami's 5th worst against the tight end. That's a great matchup as long as the weather stays okay there. Love Trevor's defense. I think he's put together a fantastic defense, something that can put up points every week. Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, Roquan, Tyrell Dodson. I mean, these guys are upper echelon defensive guys. So I like Trevor to win this week. Don't really think it's that close. You got anything different? Really, the problem is Breadbasket is really anchored by his 2 quarterbacks playing really well every week. And with Patrick Mahomes on a bye and Justin Herbert versus Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh does anything like they did this past week versus Daniel Jones, Breadbasket's chance of winning is just completely shot right from the get-go. Granted, that's Sunday night, so he has some time to kind of look forward to it. His wide receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Puka Nacua are fantastic. I mean, some of the best wide receivers in the league, but at Seattle and at San Francisco are really bad matchups. And then he's got Troy Franklin backing up after that, who will normally wouldn't have to do much, but this week would. Rumham's got Daniel Jones versus Atlanta, which isn't great. And Bryce Young and Tetra McMillan versus New Orleans, which could get some points. Juwan Jennings had a decent week last week. Rams is tough defense, but there's not really any other option there, so he's gonna get the ball fed to him. Jameson Williams at Washington's a fantastic matchup. Kamani Vidal's been playing pretty well lately. Pittsburgh's defense did play really well against Jonathan Taylor last week, so he might not get much. I do like Ashton Genty as well. I don't like him at Denver, but I do like him. He has been playing really well. It's really the defense. I think the defense is really where Rumham's going to win this game. Myles Garrett at the Jets, I just see him getting like another 4 sacks there. Micah Parsons versus Philly could play well. Even Noshawn Wright at the Giants, I think will have a great game. He's been very consistent. Roquan Smith is playing better again. Derwin James Jr. has come back from injury, but getting healthier. Whereas Breadbasket's got some guys, Alex Anzalone, Quincy Williams, but they're not playing consistent enough. Even Max Crosby can play okay, but he's going to get outshined by Myles Garrett, I think. So yeah, so I'm taking Rumham on this one as well. I don't think it's particularly close.
Yeah, it's just one of those weeks.
Yeah, I mean, between injuries and
can
buys
afford to lose.
Past couple weeks, you know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe why the algorithm didn't pick it up. Patrick Mahomes on a bye, and it's just not as big of a matchup. And I just don't see Brad going and making any moves regarding that.
Well, it'd have to be a big move too.
It would. Darth Scott against Notorious. Listen, this is not a guy you want to see, Scott. I know you just got done with Clay. Like, you really needed that win last week. This is not a guy you want to see.
It's not what I wanted to hear.
Well, I'm sorry. He's got Tyler Shuck coming in. Jalen Hurts is a hammer on Monday night. Like, Jalen Hurts is going to get his points. That's just how it's going to be going forward. He's going to tush push. I can feel the Monday night tush push hate coming from you already.
I can't
Drake
wait
London's,
for them to ban that stupid fucking play.
Yeah.
This will be the last year of it.
Probably.
Then Jalen Hurts, all value will be gone.
Michael Pittman didn't practice today. He has a glute problem. His ass is sore. He's probably, I think if he traveled with the team overseas, he's probably going to end up playing. Drake London, 3 touchdowns last week, and he's playing in Indianapolis. He's going to get the Sauce treatment, so we can't really just say, I don't know if he's going to be shadowed by Sauce the whole time, but you can't just really say, well, Drake London is going against the 6th best team or 6th worst team against the pass, because now they got Sauce. We'll see how that works out. But here's where it gets rough for you. And that's
thought it was already rough.
No, I mean Jalen Hurts and Pittman, London, Shuck, but Jackson Smith and Jigba is a top 5 receiver in our league. Jackson Smith and Jigba was picked, I think, in the 3rd round, 4th round, 4th pick. He deserves to be a 1st or 2nd rounder next year. Christian McCaffrey is playing like the best running back in the league. He's probably one of the best running backs in the league, if not best running back in the league. So you're facing a top 5 receiver and a top 5 running back and a top 5 quarterback. That's not good. Now, James Cook did not practice today and don't know what's going to happen. We'll end up seeing over the next couple days, but James Cook might be out for now. George Kittle, obviously tight end 1. A really good defense. I mean, he's been putting together this defense for a while. Jordan Brooks, Harold Landry.
Brian Burns has been killing it.
Brian Burns is DE1, and it's not close. It's by 20 points. Brian Burns is a monster, and he's going against Chicago this week. So we'll see how that works out. Now, on your end, Lamar Jackson's back and playing Lamar Jackson ball, and Sam Darnold's playing better than he ever has in his career. So that's a plus. You got the quarterbacks. Great. Emeka Egbuka is back. Great. I'm sure they're happy about that. I know you got Rice on bye, but when Rice comes back, the DK, Emeka, Rice combo, you've got 5 solid players. I think they're all past their bye, and they're all great players, okay? So and then you got Saquon passes by and Montgomery doing all right. Here's where it gets kind of tricky. You got A.J. Barner. Obviously, you're kind of scraping the barrel on that. You gave up a move for A.J. Barner probably based on what he did for you against me 4 or 5 weeks ago.
It
Because
worked out pretty well.
other than that, AJ Barner had a rushing touchdown last week, which was great. Got 10 points.
He does the tush
But
push, so I'll take that.
he does the tush push.
He does the tush push for them. So yeah.
Yes, if you can get more AJ Barner tush pushes, then you are in great shape. And I'm sure the Walker owner just obviously despises that. But one of the things you've done so far this year, now obviously Byron Young has played fantastic this year. I know not lately as much, but he's played fantastic. Chase Young has played well. You've kind of made this from the beginning a defensive free agent. I don't think your defense matches up with Danny's. And so on top of those problems that you have with the number one or one of the top receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks, defense as well. I think that there's some improvement that you could have at wide receiver with Torrey Horton, obviously with the news with Shaheed and AJ Barner. Yeah, you're tripling it up on that Seattle, but you've got probably the maybe third, fourth, fifth options there. So I don't know. I got to pick Danny in this one.
You hear that, team? He thinks he sucks. Use that for fuel. He's got a good team. I don't even want to look at who has a better team. I just need my team to not completely shit the bed. That's the main thing. Don't walk out in the field and tear your ACL. Don't go and get knocked out of the game on the first play. It's a lot of that's been happening lately because on paper, I think I should beat him. Yes, he has Christian McCaffrey and James Cook. If Michael Pittman Jr. and James Cook are injured though and don't play, he doesn't really have any replacements for them. Not worth starting. So that's a huge deal. So, I mean, at the top, if Tyler Shuck versus Carolina and Jalen Hurts at Green Bay, I don't expect Tyler Shuck to do much. He might go negative at Carolina. Jalen Hurts at Green Bay won't be any cakewalk either. Whereas Lamar Jackson at Minnesota and Sam Darnold versus Arizona. Yes, Arizona's played good defense lately, but I still expect Sam Darnold to come out and light it up. I think I win there easily. DK Metcalf, Mika Ibuka, and Torrey Horton. Great talent there. He's got Michael Pittman Jr., Drake London, Jackson Smith-Njigba, but like I said, Drake London's going to be dealing with the sauce. If I'm Arizona, stop Jackson Smith-Njigba. Just don't let him beat you. I feel like that should be pretty obvious by now, but we'll see if they can pull their heads out of their asses. We'll see. Michael Pittman Jr., if he's hurt, even if he's not, Atlanta's not an easy matchup. I think it's might be a wash there for wide receivers. He probably has, if both his running backs start, he probably has me beat there, yes. But Christian McCaffrey versus the Rams, their defense is pretty good. I know everything goes through Christian McCaffrey because they have nobody else on their offense, but shouldn't that be pretty freaking obvious by now when you're watching the tape? David Montgomery at Washington. Washington's defense has played really bad lately, so I'm hoping that game flow plays in my favor there because that way Dave Montgomery will get the ball more. And Saquon at Green Bay, not a great matchup, but he's dealing with the same thing with Jalen Hurts there. So not worried about that. George Kittle really hasn't been that great lately. And again, he's doubling up against the Rams. I like my stock. I like it. I'm taking myself this week. I know nothing has been going my way lately, but as you always say, if it's been hitting black every time on roulette, it is due to hit red. So
that's true. I'll give you that. All right. Last matchup. One last matchup here. We got Sex Raptor against who do I have? Camacho. I mean, this is something that I had kind of like marked on the calendar,
circled on the calendar.
Because I think really honestly what it is a litmus test of like, can your team play against one of the better teams, the best team in the league right now, right? And one of the things that you first look at, one of the things that pops out is the projections, right? He's got the 185 projections that are ridiculous. I mean, it's 185 projections are ridiculous. I know Danny has 181, so we're both facing two of the highest projected people. I think Danny's is kind of legit, but you go and you dig a little bit deeper into Camacho's projections. Zay Flowers 13.78. Hasn't hit that since week 1. Zay Flowers is not a good fantasy receiver. And he will have weeks where he comes out and drops 20 or 30 on you. But there will be weeks where he scores 6, 2, 8. Like, he's not very. I do not fear Zay Flowers. Now he's going to come out and drop 2 touchdowns on me or something. But I don't fear Zay Flowers. I don't fear A.J. Brown even on Monday night. If he's down, if I'm up by 30 going into Monday night, I'm fairly confident I can win that game. All right, Cortland Sutton tomorrow night and Bo Nix, that's a fear of mine. Obviously, that connection could come out and score a touchdown or 2. Obviously, Jordan Love on Monday night you never like to have that kind of hammer. So obviously, I'll be watching Monday Night Football. Hopefully, I have a lead by then. If I don't, then my team is really shit the bed. Jonathan Taylor going overseas against Atlanta, like, please let it be more like last week and not like every week before that. This team is very, very, very dependent on Jonathan Taylor, like you've said. Jonathan Taylor scores 6 points. Chase loses. It kind of early in the morning on Sunday, I'm going to see, like, is Jonathan Taylor going to be able to carry this team? Trey McBride against Brock Bowers, 2 of the top tight ends in the league. I think we can agree. I mean, Brock Bowers has not had a great season up until this last week, but I think these are 2 of the top tight ends in the league. He's got a replacement kicker in Cairo Santos. I love watching. I love that he got Cairo Santos. Cairo Santos is a bad kicker. Okay,
Yeah,
he kicks like a soccer player, right?
Yeah, and it curves.
He's got a curve on every one of his kicks.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Frustrating to watch. Brian Branch, somebody you traded for, projected 10 points, has not hit that except for once this year. In fact, 2, 5, hurt, 5, or suspended 5 in the past 4 or 5 weeks. I really think that this team is extremely overprojected. I don't think that they're particularly good on defense. I think he's devalued defense for the most part. While I've kind of like put, some into defense. Listen, things would be a lot better if I had Travis Hunter. I know I haven't talked about Travis Hunter at all this podcast, so this is my one time talk about Travis Hunter. There was a pit in my stomach that dropped because we did the podcast last week, and then I learned that he was going on IR the next day before I had produced the podcast. And I had said that the difference with my team going forward and being a playoff team and being able to beat people was Travis Hunter. So, yeah, that sucks. I think that obviously is not a good thing. I still believe that my team was a lot better or had a step up on people with Travis Hunter at corner. Now that's not there. So, yes, I'm trying to beat this team with the players that I have besides one of my better players. So this week, though, with all those projections, I'm going to take Chase.
You're taking Chase after all that.
I'm going to take Chase because I think that his team right now, on my end, I love Drake May, but Geno going against Denver, Geno hasn't been very good. Yeah. Denver's, I've thought about playing Dylan Gabriel, but one thing I learned long ago, do not play a player based on their matchup. Play their player based on their talent. Mm-hmm. If it's decision, right?
Yeah.
And I think Geno's just got a better situation. Good matchups. That I have good matchups in my team, but I just don't think they're nearly as talented this time. In 4 or 5 weeks, talk to me again. But right now, I'm picking Chase.
It's understandable. I mean, I think it'll be closer than the projections are saying right now. But Drake May at Tampa Bay, he'd have to have a huge game for you because I think Geno Smith's going to have a long day at Denver on Thursday night. You never want to be the road team on Thursday night. It's usually pretty bad. And when their strength is the defense, I could see Geno having a long day. Jordan Love's playing Philly on Monday night. It's a nice hammer, and Philly's defense really isn't very good. Bo Nix has been killing it. They're at home on Thursday, which is exactly what you want to be. Nico Collins for you versus Jacksonville's bad matchup. Plus, he's got Davis Mills throwing to him. Malik Washington versus Buffalo. It's raining. Buffalo's got pretty good special teams, and the rain is probably going to hinder some of his punt returns. Jalen Lane versus Detroit, also not a good matchup. Plus, it's supposed to rain. He's got Zay Flowers at Minnesota. I think Minnesota's defense is pretty awful this year, but he keeps talking about, oh, Ryan Flores brings pressure. They've been garbage. I expect him to have a decent day. And if AJ Brown does play Monday night, he's got two hammers. Travion Henderson, Tyrone Tracy Jr. I don't even need to look at who they're playing because I know they're not going to do very well versus Devon A. Chain. Sorry, no, it's just it's not.
Okay,
it's not.
hold on. Time out. So you don't put. I wouldn't put anything on matchups. Obviously, Ramondre hasn't practiced this week, so we might get another Travion Henderson. But look at Travion Henderson's matchups for the rest of the year.
It's all green, but
it doesn't get better than that.
No, and that's fine. That's fine. But he doesn't get the ball because at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, even if it's not the fourth quarter, Drake May's going to keep the ball. He's a ball hog. There's a lot of those this year. There's a lot of those this year, and he doesn't check down to the running back. So it's basically it's useless. You might as well be starting an offensive lineman. Like it's not going to be helpful fantasy wise. Where especially when he's got Devon A. Chain and Jonathan Taylor on the other side, I expect both of them to beach out there. Yes, you have Brock Bowers, and he did amazing last week, but at Denver is not going to be good. I feel like he's the only person they have to cover. If they don't see that, then they're not as good as defense as people say they are. And he's got Trey McBride on the other side, which I think can cover for that. So, yes, Cairo Santos is a terrible kicker, but he's probably not going to need much out of him. I don't expect it. Like I said, I don't expect it to be as high as the projections say, but I'm going to take Camacho as well in this one.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if I could pull this one out. It'd be a good way to lose, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I've done in the past. Pick against myself, so I'm happy either way.
Right. All right, guys. Well, that's just about it. Scott, do you have anything before week 10 starts?
Just good luck to everybody out there this week, other than Notorious. May there not be too many season-ending injuries for your teams. I'm curious to see where this goes. Like you said, this is very. 3 to 12 is one within one game. So pretty exciting second half of the season here.
Yep. One thing I got to say, there is 17 days till our trade deadline. 2 weeks from Saturday. So get your trades in, fix your team, because that's going to be your team for the rest of the year heading up there. So thank you guys for listening today. We appreciate it, and we'll be back next week, same time, same place. See ya.